Hey everybody, Manny Telebear here. We're now on day 54 of the seven-figure climb. And while we're doing this makeup, I thought it'd be a good idea to share some crazy coaching stories, give you some insights on different things that can happen. Now, I can tell you if you're doing group coaching, you probably won't run into a lot of the stories I've been going over. But if you're doing any one-on-one, you're probably going to experience all of it. As a matter of fact, every conceivable thing that you think might happen will happen if you're doing one-on-one coaching. I mean, it's just really, like I said, it's a free-for-all pretty much. And when I got started, I was just working with small business owners. It didn't matter whether they were online or offline. If they had a business, they wanted to have a conversation, I would have a conversation. And if the fit was right, I would make an offer to these people. And way early on, and I know I'm going to tell the Dandelion story in a few videos here, but I met up with Dandelion and he had a carpet cleaning forum, and it was basically a forum for carpet cleaners. Dan was before his time, so it would be pretty much like a private Facebook group now, and doing a doing a Zoom training in there. But this was online, and this was way back pre-Facebook even. And so he had created this forum, and he had a Tuesday night marketing for carpet cleaners. And I was the default guest speaker for about 10 weeks. And when we first started, like I think the first week there were 6 people, the second week there were 12 people, and like 25 people would like be a lot, right? And eventually he got to where he's getting 300 and 400 people in a week in there. But I would go in there and just talk marketing and answer questions and give insights and ideas. And then we would sell my products and courses to that group. Dan and I would make offers to them. And that's kind of how it started. Well, I was in there having a conversation, and one of them said, Manny, I'd like to talk to you. And I said, sure, just go ahead and give me a call, and we can, if I can help you, I'll be glad to help you. And so this guy called me, and it was him and his brother. And I don't remember what town they were in, but they had a very big carpet cleaning business. I think that they had like 40 vans or something. I mean, they were huge. And we got on a call with them, and it turned out that they had never sent any follow-up to anyone. They never called anyone after buying. They had a database of customers in files, in file folders and in file cabinets, but they never done any follow-up marketing at all. And so I talked to them about 90 minutes, and I gave them a lot of insights and ideas, and they wanted to hire me. And I said, yeah, I'd be glad to work with you. And they were going to send me $1,000, and we were going to work for 2 months to start. And then we were going to continue on from there. And this was way early on. I took payment however people wanted to pay. And they said they would send me a check. And sure enough, 3 days later, I got a check for $1,000. And we were supposed to get on a call in about 3 or 4 days. Well, 3 or 4 days later, they didn't call. I sent an email. They didn't call. What else did I do? I think I sent an email. I called and left a voicemail. They didn't call. The next week, they showed up in the Tuesday night training that I was doing, but they didn't say anything about the money. They didn't say anything about anything. And what's interesting is they gave me $1,000 and never got on a single call with me. And I can tell you that, well, first of all, first time it had ever happened to me, I felt very guilty. As a matter of fact, if they would have said, Manny, we've changed our mind, we don't want to work with you, or we've had some kind of a catastrophe and we can't go forward or whatever, I'd have probably just sent their money back. But they didn't do any of that. They just didn't respond. And you know what's interesting? One of those guys ended up being friends of mine on Facebook, and he never said anything about the money and never mentioned it ever. And it's just crazy to me. Now I can tell you that they were carpet cleaners and I was a marketer, and I was hitting them with the 5 ways to grow a business and the 80 things they can do underneath that and all of the different things that they need to do. And they've got they got a file cabinet with probably $250,000 in it. All they've got to do is they just need to start sending direct mail letters out to their past buyers. Now, what could have happened is they could have sent a direct mail letter out those buyers, and they could have made a metric ton of money, and they could have got buried in work. That could have happened to them because I've seen that happen with other clients in the past. But the other thing that also probably happened, the terror barrier sits in. They get scared that they're going to have to do things they've never done before. They're going to have to do database marketing. They're going to have to start collecting emails. They're old school. And that just frightened them, and they ran away. They decided they didn't want to do that. And I can tell you, I was really, really guilty for about 4 months for keeping that money. And then I was listening to an Alan Weiss course, and I don't remember which one it was. I mean, I've listened to most of Alan's stuff, and Alan's a very, very high-end consultant, charges $200,000 to $500,000 for consulting, works with the Fortune 50 a lot. And he had a client that gave him $125,000 and then didn't move forward. And he's got it really clear in writing that you don't get your money back. When you give me this money, you're buying time that I can't sell to someone else, and so you don't get your money back. And like I said, I felt really guilty until I heard that he got 125,000, and he'd had two different people do that to him, give him 125,000 and then not move forward. And he said that what happens is they will hire him for a project, and he's working in a division of a company, and divisions get moved around, and sometimes budgets get cut, and sometimes they just cut projects, and the projects got cut and he got to keep the money. And what's interesting about that, 3 months later, I had another person give me $500 and never talk to me again. And so I can tell you, you're going to get free money in this business once in a while. You can't take it personally if they don't move forward with you. All you can do is give them the opportunity. And I can tell you, I was available for those calls. If they would have called, I would have certainly delivered the value and helped those people. But they didn't call and they didn't move forward. And all I can tell you is you're just going to have things happen. Like I said, any conceivable possible thing you can think of happening will happen, especially when you're first starting out and you're a little bit green and you fuzzy the lines on agreement some. So you might let someone make payments or something like that when you first start out. And I did that a couple of times and it burnt me, and I never did it again. But and we'll probably talk about that at some point. But I just wanted to give you some insights because, if you are selling one-on-one, you're certainly going to have it. And I can tell you, if you're selling group, it's going to happen way, way, way more often. And what ultimately happens when you're selling group coaching, you're taking people through a process. And once they hit up against something that they can't deal with, they just leave. And a lot of people who sign up for 8 and 10-week programs or 3 or 6 months programs, they don't complete them. They paid you, they don't complete them. And sometimes those people will come back and buy something else. But for whatever reason, the terror barrier has set in and they're just scared to move forward. But I'm going to end out, and we will see you all on the next video. And thanks a lot.